This is a parent information handout from the Queensland Children's Gender Service, which you will find on their website. Notice that the pictures show small children. In the top red circle it says, studies show that strong parental support of their gender-diverse child leads to a 95% reduction in suicide attempts comparative to parents who are unsupportive or only somewhat supportive. Some parents may experience struggles in affirming their child. The reference for these statements is shown in the bottom right red circle. It is the Transpulse 2012 survey. So I want to talk about this Transpulse study, which is being used to suggest that parents need to affirm their child in order to reduce their child's suicide attempt rate by 95%. The Transpulse study is not a peer-reviewed publication. It is a self-published document posted on the internet. Participants were recruited through respondent-driven sampling over a 12-month period in 2009 to 2010, and it included 123 trans youth aged between 16 to 24, 84 of whom had socially transitioned and provided information on how supportive their parents were of their gender identity or expression. So this analysis is based on the self-report information obtained from these 84 youth. The recruitment for this survey took place via 16 well-connected trans people in Toronto who were known to a trans community support organisation. These people then recruited their friends using a financial incentive. The study likely did not include children who were happy in their home and had not required the support of advocacy groups. The study found consideration of suicide was common and reported by 35% of youth whose parents were strongly supportive and 60% of those whose parents were not strongly supportive. Particularly alarming is that among this latter 60%, nearly all, 57%, had actually attempted suicide in the past year. In contrast, only 4% of those with strongly supportive parents attempted suicide. However, this was a cross-sectional survey, so it was not able to determine causal relationships. It cannot exclude reverse causality, such as a person's pre-existing mental health conditions and suicidality being the cause of their parents not supporting transition rather than a consequence. The assessment of the parents' level of support comes from a single question in an 87-page survey, which was, in general, how supportive of your gender identity or expression are the following people, taking the item which specified parents. This survey doesn't consider any confounders such as homelessness, bullying, poverty, culture, education level or other disadvantage being drivers of suicidality and also possibly correlated with perceived unsupportive parents. For example, the study also found, while not statistically significant, for those with parents strongly supportive of their gender identity and expression, 92% reported having adequate food compared to 82% of those with parents not strongly supportive. We are not told the ages of the participants of the survey, only that they are between the ages of 16 and 24. They may well have been mostly in their 20s because the survey was illustrated with cartoons regarding sex reassignment surgery, suggesting it was for an adult audience. Also not reported is the respondents' natal sex or age from which they identified as transgender, which may link to their perception of their parents' level of support. There's no information given about any comorbid mental health diagnoses. There's odd findings within the survey which are ignored, such as 45% of those with unsupportive parents were satisfied with life versus 20% or less of those with somewhat supportive parents. 70% of those with somewhat supportive parents had made a past year suicide attempt versus 30% of those with unsupportive parents. Findings from this survey are not reliable, and the population in this study is not generalisable to a present-day cohort who are predominantly adolescent females with onset of gender dysphoria in adolescence, let alone to primary school children as suggested in the hospital information sheet.